Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. It's fight week for Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz, the rematch in Las Vegas. And Luis Ortiz, the 40-year-old challenger, is looking lean and mean and ready for action. And it's been a hallmark of this build-up that they've been trying to shake off this old man narrative. And even Deontay Wilder's been calling Luis Ortiz an old man at times, saying that nobody wants to fight the old man. But deliberately, they've been trying to shake that off through some of the stuff that's been coming out through the promotion. And Ortiz himself is looking different. He's looking younger. They've got a hip new haircut for Ortiz, instead of him looking older with the shorter cropped hairstyle. So he is in some ways looking like a different man, and his body, they've whipped him into terrific shape for the rematch. And here is a shot, one that's come out from Team Ortiz in a bunch of new photos just a couple of days ago. And I'll run some of these as a slideshow throughout the video. But clearly, Luis Ortiz it's not just for show. He is in good shape. He's looking leaner, he's looking more muscular, and he doesn't look like necessarily the same fighter of just 18 months ago, where he had a little bit of rubble around the middle, but he looks to have trimmed down, leaned out, and turned some of that fat into muscle. And let's face it, this could be last chance saloon for Luis Ortiz to have a title shot, so he needs to be ready. And this is going to be very different from the Berman-Stiverne fight, the rematch. You're not going to see Ortiz coming in overweight and coming in out of shape. Stiverne was a mess that night, but Ortiz, he's putting his best foot forward. So the whole thing about this training camp and the build-up, it is getting people rethinking and reassessing their predictions for this fight. I know some people that I've been talking with through comment sections and other videos, for example, have been sort of pausing for thought about what can Luis Ortiz do here. And some people have been changing their minds. They think that perhaps it will go longer than they originally thought. Or maybe that Ortiz is in the sort of condition, in shape, that he can stop Deontay Wilder in this fight. Because let's face it, he's going to need to put on a very good performance and probably stop Deontay Wilder in this fight. We saw in that first fight, even though Ortiz was looking like he was up on the cards, it wasn't necessarily the case when the judges' scorecards came out. It was all irrelevant in the end because he was knocked out. But Ortiz is coming in here in tip-top shape, and it is quite interesting how the narrative has sort of shifted a bit, that it's not necessarily people are talking about the old man, that Ortiz being older and probably likely to get knocked out again. Sure, there's some of that, but some of what's been happening and some of the images, the photos coming from training camp showing Luis Ortiz in this sort of shape is starting to sway perception. It doesn't mean it's going to alter the result on fight night, but you can better believe Luis Ortiz is leaving nothing to chance. Hopefully he hasn't left it in the training room floor. Hopefully he's got something left for fight night and will put up a good performance against Deontay Wilder, because ultimately, if he is going to win, he's going to need to put up a stellar effort. And on his training camp, Luis Ortiz says, "I feel really good coming into this fight. All the hard work is finally coming to an end, and now it's time to get the proper rest to be at my best on fight night. As a team, we worked smart during this training camp. We did things a little different with my diet, and I believe that will make me perform at a high level on fight night. My weight is right where I want it. All in all, it's been a very productive training camp." It'll be quite interesting with the weight factor because he is looking leaner, but I think he will still come in somewhere around the range where he usually fights, which is between about 236 and 240. I'm expecting it will still be there or thereabouts. I don't think he's going to be coming in at like 230 or something like that, but only a few days to find out. And on his rematch with Deontay Wilder, Ortiz says, "As I've said before, Wilder is the best heavyweight of this decade, and until someone beats him, he will remain the top dog. We have a different strategy in place that I believe will be the difference in this rematch. I have plans to end this fight before the final bell, but if we need to go the distance, I'm well prepared to take it all the way." So Ortiz there giving Wilder his due, saying that he is the best. And obviously, for him, he would want to say that because he wants to believe that he was beaten by the best as to someone who was, 2, 3, 4 in the division. But Deontay Wilder is among the best, if not the best, but that's a very subjective conversation. But in terms of the best heavyweight of the decade, there will be others that will make a claim for that. And when it's all said and done, because we've only got a few months left in the year, those are the sorts of questions that will start turning our minds to. Who was the dominant heavyweight of the decade? Certainly guys like Vladimir Klitschko, who was a long-reigning champion, would probably lay claim to that title. But if Ortiz can take out Wilder on November 23rd, it will certainly end a bang to the decade for him, and then he'll be looking to defend his belt in 2020. But obviously the underdog here, Luis Ortiz, it's all against him. But this should be, I believe, a competitive fight, especially early on. I think that there is going to be a feeling out process. I think it will play out somewhat similar to the first fight, where it will be somewhat circumspect before starting to heat up. And on fighting for his family and his Cuban legacy, Ortiz says, "I have to say it's been really hard being away from my family during training camp, but I know coming out to Las Vegas was the right move. If I'm going to become the heavyweight champion of the world, I must make these types of sacrifices. Everything I do in the ring is for my family. To become the first Cuban heavyweight champion in boxing history would be a dream come true, not only for me, but for my countrymen back home. I'm going to leave every ounce of blood, sweat and tears in the ring come November 23. And with the odds being more stacked against him the second time around, he will need to really leave it all in the ring on fight night. And as it is, he is the heavy underdog favourite. But as I mentioned, I think they've done quite a good job with the promotion to try take away some of the old man narrative with this new hairstyle that he's got. He looks younger. He does look 10 years younger. And I think he would have been advised to, actually grow his hair out a bit to try and make him have a bit more youthful sort of vigour. Because no one wants to see him go in there, look old, and then for him to get knocked out and to be called old. Ultimately, that may still happen. There could be a bit of that. But we are seeing with Luis Ortiz and the way that he's been preparing, he's leaving nothing to chance. 3 months in Las Vegas, away from his family, away from distractions, seemingly in some of the best shape of his career. And it's all going to be there for him to do on November 23rd in Las Vegas. What do you make of Luis Ortiz's comments? What do you make of this promotion? Is there sort of an element that they've been working hard to, as I believe, to sort of take away the old man narrative? Have they been successful in doing that? Has Luis Ortiz and his training been making you think about his chances, or will this fight go a bit deeper than you originally thought, or do you think he can spring the upset? Let me know. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.